Daniel Mercer had always believed that systems were neutral. For most of his adult life, that belief had been both a comfort and a profession. He worked in compliance, a field built on the assumption that structures, if designed properly, protect truth. Regulations exist to prevent chaos. Databases exist to confirm identity. Verification exists to eliminate ambiguity. He trusted that if something was recorded, it was real. That trust began to erode on a quiet Tuesday morning. The envelope on his kitchen counter bore a federal seal and his full legal name in precise block lettering. It carried the weight of bureaucracy, heavy paper, official formatting, language engineered to eliminate emotion. Daniel opened it expecting procedural inconvenience. What he found instead was an accusation so thorough it felt rehearsed. He was being summoned to answer for international financial crimes. The documents outlined wire transfers routed through sanctioned regions, shell corporations operating across European clearinghouses, bond acquisitions structured to bypass regulatory oversight. Each charge was supported by authentication logs, biometric confirmations, and digital certificates. The system did not speculate, it verified. Daniel read the date of the first transaction carefully. He did not rush. He compared it to his calendar history. 3 years earlier, at the exact hour of the alleged transfer, he had been seated in his Manhattan office preparing a compliance audit. Ironically, an audit designed to detect precisely the kind of activity now attributed to him. He called the number printed at the bottom of the notice. The woman who answered sounded neither surprised nor accusatory. She verified his identity through a series of questions that Daniel answered reflexively, almost mechanically. There was a pause while she reviewed the case file. Then she told him, "Mr. Mercer, the accounts were opened with your credentials. Your biometric verification cleared at onboarding." Daniel explained that this could not be correct. The woman hesitated only slightly before responding. "According to our system, it already happened." That phrase stayed with him long after the call ended. According to our system. That evening, he logged into his bank with the detached focus of someone expecting to find a clerical error. Instead, he found a second checking account listed under his name. It did not appear abruptly or suspiciously. It sat there as though it had always belonged, the same social security number, the same name, a separate routing structure, a balance approaching $2 million. He did not panic. Panic implied uncertainty. This felt different. It felt deliberate. The transaction history stretched back several years in structured, disciplined increments. Funds moved through Zurich and London with mathematical precision. Each entry bore his digital certificate. Each authentication line confirmed biometric clearance. He opened the security log. Retinal scan confirmed. Fingerprint authenticated. Voice recognition match. His body had validated the activity. Daniel sat back slowly, trying to understand the mechanics of what he was seeing. Someone had not simply stolen his identity. They had replicated it at a biological level. When Elena stepped into the room, she sensed something was wrong before he spoke. She read the screen quietly, her eyes moving methodically over numbers and timestamps. "This isn't someone improvising," she said after a long silence. "No," Daniel replied. "This is engineered." The next morning at the bank, he expected reassurance that an internal fraud division would intervene. Instead, he encountered something more unsettling. Procedural calm. "Mr. Mercer, we've already conducted internal verification," the branch manager said with professional discomfort. Daniel leaned forward, lowering his voice. "And?" the manager swallowed. "The secondary account passed enhanced due diligence checks. You are listed as both primary and secondary account holder in different regulatory environments." Daniel repeated the phrase later in his car. Primary and secondary. The terminology felt less like banking language and more like software architecture. When he attempted to file an identity theft complaint through a federal portal, the submission failed before it completed. Conflict detected. Record archived. Archived. The word suggested finality rather than error. Daniel began to investigate beyond what any reasonable person would consider prudent. He accessed restricted records through professional credentials he had accumulated over decades. He navigated interagency databases until he found something that forced him to stop. A death certificate. His name, his birth date, declared deceased 11 years earlier in a maritime accident off the Massachusetts coast. Body unrecovered, case closed. Daniel stared at the document, trying to recall any period of his life that resembled death. 11 years ago, he had been very much alive. He had paid rent, filed taxes, met Elena. There had been no notification, no grieving family. Yet somewhere within overlapping jurisdictions, Daniel Mercer had died. 6 months later, his social security number had been reactivated under a coded directive labeled RA-17. The code appeared again as he dug deeper, in tax adjustments, in dormant trusts, in cross-border regulatory exemptions. He began mapping other names, 14 individuals, each declared dead in obscure accidents, each reactivated months later, each tied to offshore financial movement. The pattern was too clean to be accidental. 3 nights later, as he left his office beneath a sky heavy with rain, Daniel noticed that the gray sedan parked across from his building had become a constant presence. This time, it was absent. Instead, a woman waited near the curb, studying him with measured assessment. She spoke his name with certainty. "Daniel Mercer, we need to talk before they escalate containment." He studied her carefully. "Who are you?" "My name is Mara Kessler. I helped design the reconciliation architecture." Inside a quiet cafe, she explained pieces of a system Daniel already suspected. Hospitals shared encrypted biometric derivatives. Legal identities declared deceased could be internally repurposed under restricted economic authority. Dormant identities were structurally insulated from oversight because they officially no longer existed. "They are clean," she explained. "No living exposure, no political traceability." Daniel asked the only question that mattered. Why would anyone need to recycle the legally dead? "To move capital where it isn't allowed to move," she said. "Sanctions could be bypassed. Political liability could be avoided. Funds could travel invisibly through identities that no longer required consent." "And when the person whose identity was repurposed discovers it?" Daniel asked. "The system resolves the conflict," Mara replied. She explained that there were instances, primary and secondary designations. The system determined which version of an identity retained operational legitimacy. His profile, she told him, had been flagged. Another Daniel Mercer existed within financial systems, and that instance had been marked primary. Within 48 hours, Daniel's passport was revoked. His biometric authentication failed. Verification mismatch detected. It was subtle at first, small inconsistencies, a login rejection, a delay in credit processing. Then Elena received a call at the hospital asking her to confirm the date of her husband's death. The question was delivered with bureaucratic politeness. Daniel began to feel something he had never experienced before. Not fear exactly, but displacement. As though he were gradually becoming the unofficial version of himself. He stood at the apartment window that night and watched the gray sedan return. He understood why he had been selected. He was stable, predictable, low volatility, an ideal identity to duplicate because it would not attract scrutiny. But now he was scrutinizing the architecture, and systems do not tolerate instability. A notification appeared on his laptop. Identity conflict, secondary instance pending administrative closure. Daniel understood what closure meant in institutional language. It meant alignment, correction, elimination of redundancy. If courts, banks, and hospitals recognized only one Daniel Mercer, then the other would not simply fade. He would become an error, and errors are corrected. His phone vibrated once more. Reassignment protocol. Initiated, Phase 2.